It's definitely Carson's to lose. That's what DJ Shockley had to say about Georgia's quarterback fight. So Shock with look, DJ's been around the block for a while. He was talking with Cody Chaffetz over at Fox. Both those guys have been around for some time since the early 2000s at Georgia. And I agree with Shock. I mean, I think it's right on top of uh, obvious, I don't know, but it's pretty clear that Carson is in the lead with this thing. Here's what DJ had to say. Let me quote it exactly. He says, it's definitely Carson's job to lose. I think Carson came in as the unspoken guy. And what he meant by saying that, DJ, as the unspoken, sort of person to beat in this competition. Um, Carson was the backup quarterback, played in 7 games last year. He was the backup for Stetson in 22. So he came into the 23 spring. I mean, I think it's pretty evident he was the number one guy coming in. Anyway, Schott goes on to say, I think Brock still has a ways to go. I think he's still learning. He still has to get out here and play. You have to remember that Carson played last season. Brock really hasn't done that. He said, we saw a lot with Carson today. I thought he really did a good job of being calm and poised inside the pocket. I think he did a good job of knowing when to use certain throws. I thought he did a good job of standing there and making a couple of plays. Also getting in and out of the huddle. He played within himself. I thought he did a good job. Listen, DJ Shockley is a very smart, intelligent guy. He's been around the block. He's won an SEC championship game. He can see what we can all see. He's saying these things, I think, in a diplomatic way. I think it's pretty evident that Carson is going to head into the fall with the lead. How much of a lead? I wasn't at all 15 practices. I was at one whole practice, and so that's I don't know. I think it's pretty clear that everybody thinks that's it's going to be hard it's going to be tough for Brock or Gunner to jump over Carson Beck. We've got a bag of destiny situation right now from our friends at Red Zone. What do we have? I got a link for this right down below. Immediately click the link below. You can grab this shirt. Can't get it anywhere else. It's from our friends at Red Zone. Check it out. It's a white boom t-shirt from our friends at Red Zone and their bag of destiny. A really neat shirt. Check that out. It's the only link down there right now. So go ahead and see what they've got. They've got it in red and black as well, but I figured we'd take a look at the white tonight. Shock doesn't, you know, DJ went through a lot. Is that putting it mildly? Shock went through a lot as a quarterback. David Green did too. But David, the pressure really ratcheted up after Georgia won the league in '02, and the only game they lost was a game that Shock threw an interception for a touchdown in. Now, the context there is that no one remembers is that Georgia still had the lead in that game. And that pick was not the explanation for the loss. It was a convenient talking point for people who just didn't like DJ Shockley for whatever. If you know DJ Shockley's hard not to like him, but David really elevated the program with his play, and he really did a great job. And the dynamics between those two wasn't just that Shock had a hard time. David had to go through a lot of stuff too, and that's what it's like playing quarterback at Georgia. You know, there's only a handful of those guys. There's really even fewer successful quarterbacks that have played at Georgia. But when you think about Shock, David Green, Matthew, Aaron Murray, Jake Fromm, Stetson Bennett, and a hat tip to JT Daniels, who never lost a game as a starter, and the rest of you guys can say that. Um, it's tough having that burden. I mean, everything is on you all the time. I bet you, I'll say this, I bet you if Shock and Greeny could have used DoorDash back in the day, they would have. You can order down below. And why? Why? Because, man, it's tough. It's tough going out. Everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody wants to say something to you. They want to encourage you. They want to hate on you, whatever it is. And it's just like everybody's got something to say or ask or whatever. And it's tough out there, man. But if you order today, DoorDash, the link is right down below. You can get 50% off of tonight's meal if it's your first order on the DoorDash app. Use the code DOGPOST, DAWG. That's up to $20 value. Make sure you're taking advantage of that limited time offer, and uh, I would go ahead and order tonight, so that you don't have to think about what you're eating. There's so many options in Athens and Atlanta, and probably if you're in a mid-sized to large city in South Georgia as well, obviously Augusta and Columbus, so and Macon. So take advantage of that now. The code is DOGPOST, DAWGPOST, just like dogpost.com. I think that Shock is really one of the best representatives that we've seen over time at Georgia. And now that he's working in the television world in Atlanta, it is good to hear from him and sort of his take on uh, what reality is. And it's hard because usually guys in TV don't say anything. I mean, the default in television is to not say anything at all. That's just what it is. And Shock said it again one more time here about what he said. The most interesting thing that he said that I didn't put in the article um, over on Dog Post. By the way, if you're not going to the site, you're really missing out on stuff. I tell you about stuff from Red Zone. We talk about DoorDash. We talk about the book. But like, if you're not going to the site, you're missing out because I can't give you all the context. Here's one thing that Shock said. He said, "I thought Gunnar Stockton uh, was solid. I thought he did a good job of distributing the ball to guys. You could see the arm and athleticism." And then this is the curious thing he says. Gunnar is going to be the guy that if something doesn't go right, some people say he could be the guy you lean on, talking about if the number one quarterback gets hurt. I think he means if Carson Beck gets hurt. And I know, I know, particularly if you're a TV anchor, you don't sometimes want to say things straight out. But, I will translate for Shock, who I did not talk to on Saturday. Not be, I just didn't for whatever reason. But I mean, it's clear that Beck is the guy. I think that the other question is, who is the backup? You know, who is the backup? That is less clear to me. I think it's Brock Vandagriff, but I'm not. I don't know 100% who the backup quarterback will be at Georgia. I don't know, yet. But one case that Kirby made publicly was, hey, look, we have the infrastructure of players for quarterbacks to develop. And what he meant by that is that, Georgia has a slew of depth. That's not the right way to say that. That Kirby's pointing out that Georgia's got a lot of depth in their team, in their program and on their team, so that the third string guy, the fourth string guy, they're going to get reps. They're not going to throw their arms out. They're not going to sit on the sideline. There's not two quarterbacks or five quarterbacks. Yeah, three quarterbacks on scholarship, and anymore that might be all you ever get with the way that the transfer portal is working and NIL. I don't know that NIL has anything to do with it, but just the way the transfer portal is. Because if I'm not mistaken, and I can't speak for Gunnar, I'm pretty certain that Brock and Carson both have NIL deals. So that's not what's keeping these guys at Georgia or making them leave. I mean, that has nothing to do with it in the case of those two guys. So let's chill out on the NIL critiques or hates or whatever. That it's new doesn't mean it's, quote, destroying the game. The transfer portal, on the other hand, is something that the NCAA can do. It can handle itself. So let's just see what happens. The portal's going to close I believe, at the end of the month. So there is some sanity here. But right now, it looks like Carson Beck is the guy to beat heading into the fall. You can tell me what you think. Make sure you're checking out that white shirt down below.